The rain welcomes you along to the Ladbroke Stadium in Monmore Green, Wolverhampton for the 1991 Ladbroke Olympique individual meeting. It's an individual meeting with just a little bit of difference, but more of that to follow. It's the 10th staging of the event. We go straight into heat number 1 with the rain coming down here at Monmore Green. Ronnie Curry rides in red, Mark Thorpe in blue, Craig Boyce in white, and John Jorgensen in yellow and black. 16 riders taking part. The 10th staging of the event from America, Australia, New Zealand, Denmark, Sweden, England. As the tapes rise and this individual meeting gets underway, and straight away it is Rocket Ronnie Curry who heads the pack. Second place in blue, Mark Thorpe. Third place in yellow, John Jorgensen. And we wait to see how the conditions here at Monmore Green is going to have any effect on this meeting, because the rain's still coming down, and I'm sure that the riders behind are going to have great difficulty picking up the rider in front of them. Filled in his expression, the in-turn for this particular conditions. But Ronnie Curry, who's out there in front, will have no fears of what's in front of him. But I'm sure Mark Thorpe behind him will be cleaning that old visor and turning the old strips across his helmet. We enter the final lap of this opening race here at Monmore Green. As I've already said, it's the 10th staging of this individual meeting with just a little bit of difference because there is handicapping, and I'll explain to you that as we go on further. But coming out to take the win in heat number 1, it's Rocket Ronnie Curry who gets the 3 points. On the line, Mark Thorpe holds on to second place, and John Jorgensen from Denmark gets the 1 point for finishing in third place. So Ronnie Curry, who is the older of this particular title, he won it last season, 1990 on 12 points. He's the winner of the opening race. So we move swiftly on to heat number 2, which sees Samuel Malenko riding in red, Henkel Gustafsson in blue, Neil Collins white, and Andy Graham yellow and black. And the handicap system, if a rider wins his opening race here between heats number 1 and 4, in heat number 5 or whenever he should come out, he starts 20 yards back. If the rider finishes in second place, it's 15 yards back, and third, he finishes in 10 yards behind. So all will be revealed in heat number 5, and I'll explain more, but this, of course, is heat number 2. The riders now coming into the line as the rain still falls. The starter marshal signals that he's quite content. The green light goes on, and away they go. And into that turn, Malenko goes in, but it's the rider in yellow-black who cuts across the pack. That's Andy Graham. Andy Graham, who's riding these days down in Eastbourne in Sussex for the Eastbourne Dons, and having such a tremendous season for them. Second place is Samuel Malenko. Third place in blue is Henkel Gustafsson, and Neil Collins in fourth place. So it's all eyes on the man in yellow-black who came from gate number 4 in tremendous style with 2 laps gone. And at the moment in time, Eastbourne having a tremendous tussle to try and avoid relegation to Division 2 in the Sunbright League. And this young fella is going to have a big say on their quest to stay in the top flight. 1 more lap to go. Andy Graham leads. Samuel Malenko in second place. These two in pole positions, first and second. Still Henkel Gustafsson third, and Neil Collins fourth. So coming round the turn to take the win, it's Andy Graham that's got there. Second place goes to sudden Samuel Malenko, and Henrik Gustafsson gets third place. So a good win from trap number 4 for Andy Graham. He collects the 3 points. 2 points to Samuel Malenko, who finishes second, and third place goes to Henrik Gustafsson. That's the way they line up, and the result of heat number 2. Heat number 3, Graham Jones rides in red from England. Billy Hamill rides in blue from America. Tony Rickardsson, the man who had such a fabulous world final in Sweden, he rides in white in gate number 3. And Scott Norman from down under. Scott Norman having a tremendous season with Wolverhampton this year after stepping up from Division 2 from Australia, of course. He rides in yellow and black. That's the lineup for heat number 3 of this 1991 Ladbrokes-sponsored Olympique. The 10th staging of the event. Billy Sanders winning it in 1977 and Ronnie Corey last season. And there's been a host of top stars in between them. Stoddard Marshall walks away and the tapes rise. And the first one to show into that first turn is, oh, we've lost the rider in yellow-black. Scott Norman takes a nasty looking tumble but gets to his feet. The race, the red lights go on, and the race has been stopped by tonight's match official, Barry Bowles, and Scott Norman disappears back into the bits. We take another look at exactly what happened. The rider in white going out slightly, Tony Rickardson, but Scott Norman just deciding to bail out, didn't want to go over that line and hit the fence and bails out way before turn. So, is excluded from the restart. 3 riders only, Graham Jones red, Billy Hamill blue, and Tony Rickardson in white. The restart of heat number 3. So it's an individual meeting with a difference, and one of the only times you see handicapping in England or in Scandinavia as well. So it's a chance for us to capture the imagination and see what it's like to try and come from the back, and the conditions I'm sure are going to have a big say on that in the outcome of the later races here at Monmore Green. Anyway, the tips rise on the restart of heat number 3, and driving straight into that first turn, it's the red helmet colour of Graham Jones that leads, but coming around the outside of him it's Tony Rickardson in white, who now takes the lead. Rickardson leads, Graham Jones second, Billy Hamill third in that order with 1 lap gone. So Rickardson, who has had such a tremendous season in 1991 with the Ipswich Witches, of course, in the Sunbright League, the World Final, and Stockholm United in the Swedish Elite League. He heads the pack after 2 laps. Still in second place is Graham Jones. One of the nicest riders in British Speedway at the moment is Graham Jones. Gets stuck in, and one of the main reasons why Wolverhampton are pushing for honours, and just mathematically they can still be caught, but I'm sure the Wolverhampton fans will say the title is firmly coming to Monmore Green in 1991. So it is still Rickardson who leads, Graham Jones second, and Billy Hamill third. As it is, that's the result. Rickardson gets the 3 points, Graham Jones gets 2 points, and Billy Hamill 1 point for finishing in third place. So congratulations to Tony Rickardson from Stockholm in Sweden, who is the winner of heat number 3. So heat number 4, the riders coming to the line. Greg Hancock from America rides in red. Jan Steckman from Denmark rides in blue. Charles Ermolenko from America rides in white. And Nigel Crabtree from England rides in yellow and black. That's the lineup for heat number 4. And after this particular race, of course, the handicapping system will be in evidence, and we'll explain a little bit more to you as we get into heat number 5. But whoever wins this race, whether it be any of these 4, Hancock, Steckman, Ermolenko or Crabtree, then their next outing, they will start 20 yards behind the starting line in that particular heat. Whoever finishes second will be 15 yards, and third will be 10. All will be revealed in just a few moments' time. This is heat number 4. Up go the tapes, those engines roar, into that first turn they drive, and it is Greg Hancock who heads the pack. Greg Hancock leads, second place in blue is Jan Steckman, of course, the man who lifted the Division 2 Riders' Championship recently at Coventry. Oh, and down goes Charles Ermolenko. Charles Ermolenko hits the deck, manages to get up and pick himself up and walk to the centre green in haste to avoid the riders coming round, although the race has been stopped by Barry Bowles. Let's take another look, and Charles Ermolenko just drifts out and hits no man's land, and the only thing that's coming to Charles Ermolenko at that moment in time is the safety fence, so bail out he does, and is excluded from the restart of heat number 4. So the 3 remaining riders coming round for the restart of heat number 4. Greg Hancock in red, Jan Steckman in blue, and Nigel Crabtree in yellow and black. So Greg Hancock, who's having a very, very good season with Craigley Heath just across the Midlands at Craigley Heath, I say, the back country. And they are one of the sides mathematically who can catch Wolverhampton at this moment in time. Craigley and Bradford in second and third place respectively in the Summer League Division 1 table. Wolverhampton there at the pole position, and Greg Hancock knows a lot about Monmore Green. Rode here on several occasions as the green light goes on. Up go the tapes. those engines roar, 500 cc's, clutch start, no brakes, and in these conditions, a lot of nerve, a lot of bottle, and it's still Hancock who gets first place, irrespective of a second start of heat number 4. Jan Steckman in second place, Nigel Crabtree third. So, Greg Hancock, who's having a fabulous season with Craig de Heath, along with Billy Hamill and the world champion Janno Peterson. He heads the pack. Still Jan Steckman second place, Nigel Crabtree third, as the rain still falls here at Monmore Green. And we're not having too much luck with the weather recently. They're coming up to take the flag for one more lap in heat number 4 before the handicapping system takes place. Down the back straight for the final time. Coming round the final 2 turns, it's Greg Hancock from the US of A who comes up to take the win. Second place is Jan Steckman. Third place is Nigel Crabtree. So Greg Hancock is the winner of heat number 4. And join us after the break when the handicap-in system will come in evidence here at Monmore Green in the 1990 Ladbroke Olympic. Welcome back to Monmore Green in Wolverhampton, where you see there the figure 20, next one is 15. And finally we go to 10 as handicapping comes into the 1991 staging of the Ladbroke-sponsored Olympique. So heat number 5 will see Nigel Crabtree start off the gate in red. In blue, Ronnie Corrie, as the previous heat winner, will start 20 yards behind in blue. Sam Ermolenko, because he finished second in his first race, will start 15 yards behind. He's in white. And Tony Rickardsson, who also won his opening race, he starts, should I say, along with Ronnie Corrie, 20 yards behind. That's the way it starts. And now on, the handicapping system coming into evidence here at Monmore Green. And it makes life a little bit difficult with the weather conditions. But anyway, the green light goes on, and up go the tapes, and heat number 5 gets underway. And it is Nigel Crabtree who leads in red. Crabtree leads, but just look at the rider in white, Sam Ermolenko, getting very, very close already to him. And the rider in blue, Ronnie Corrie. So Nigel Crabtree leads in red, but just look at sudden Sam Ermolenko, of course riding for Wolverhampton along with Rocket Ronnie. And 2 of these are the colourful Americans getting very close to Nigel Crabtree. And as you can hear, the Monmore Green faithful who are having to put up with this atrocious weather conditions are coming to life as Sudden Sam now takes the lead. Sam Ermolenko leads, then can Ronnie Corrie come through as well. Crabtree just holding on. Rocket Ronnie Corrie in third place, but making up tremendous ground as we now go into the final lap, and Corrie has come through. So Ermolenko leads, Corrie is second, and Crabtree, who started off the gate, is now back in third place. So the handicapping system is working, and riders are coming from the back, and it's Ermolenko gets the win. Ronnie Corrie in second place, and Nigel Crabtree, who made the early work, is had to be content with 1 point for finishing in third place. So Sudden Sam gets 3 points, Ronnie Corrie gets 2, and Nigel Crabtree just 1 from heat number 5. So heat number 6, and Neil Collins in yellow-black starts off of the gate, and the other 3 riders, Jan Steckman red, Graham Jones blue, and Mark Thorpe all start on 15 yards, and this is heat number 6. Up go the tapes, those engines roar, and into that turn they drive, and it is Neil Collins in yellow-black, who of course spent 1990 here at Monmore Green riding for Wolverhampton. He's now up at the Bellevue Piccadilly Aces in Manchester, but he leads with 1 lap gone. Second in blue is Graham Jones. Third in red, Jan Steckman. That's the order in heat number 6. So Neil Collins is having nothing to say about handicapping. Nobody is going to come past me, sir. With 2 laps gone, he leads. Graham Jones still second. Jan Steckman trying to make up ground in third place on Graham Jones, and that's really where the battle lies in heat number 6. So still Neil Collins leads. He takes the flag for 1 more lap. One of the famous Collins family, more notable Peter Collins, who of course won that fabulous world final in 1976. Sadly at a speedway now, but coming around to take the win, Neil Collins gets the flag. Second place is Graham Jones. Third place is Jan Steckman. So a good win from the gate for Neil Collins in heat number 6. He collects the 3 points. Graham Jones 2, and Jan Steckman 1 point, and that's the result of heat number 6. So heat number 7 riders come into the line. Billy Hamill and Henke Gustafsson go off of 10 yards. Craig Boyce, who's in yellow, will start off the gate. And Greg Hancock, the only race winner, he will start off 20 yards. There you see the riders from the start coming into line. Craig Boyce, the only one up the starting gate. This is heat number 7. Up go the tapes, and Boyce then the first one to show, as predicted from the gate. He leads in yellow and black. Henke Gustafsson, white in second place. So Henke Gustafsson second at this moment in time, and it's a bit dark out there on that third and fourth turn. We apologise for that. But it's Craig Boyce who leads. Henke Gustafsson now as Billy Hamill comes into contention, and Greg Hancock, but Henke holding him at bay at the moment. Billy Hamill coming around the outside of Henke Gustafsson. Has he got the drop? Henke now gives way to Billy Hamill. Now Greg Hancock coming underneath Henke Gustafsson as well. So the two Americans coming from the back in the dark here at Monmore Green. Leading it though is the rider in yellow, which is Craig Boyce. Now can Billy Hamill come from the back? Boyce leads. Billy Hamill coming around the outside of him. Hamill takes the lead from Craigleheath and the US of A. Comes round Craig Boyce and comes out to take the win. Billy Hamill gets it. Craig Boyce in second place, and Greg Hancock has to be content with third place. But Billy Hamill doing work from the back. He collects 3 points in heat number 7, 2 to Craig Boyce, and 1 point to Greg Hancock in heat number 7. So heat number 8, we move swiftly on, and then will be completed, all riders having 2 outings. So John Jorgensen, he rides in red, he's off 10 yards. Andy Graham rides in blue, he's off 20. Scott Norman and Wayne Carter coming in to replace the injured Charles Ermolenko, who's had to withdraw. He hurt his neck in that heat number 4 crash. Those two are both off of the gate. Wayne Carter, the reserve of yellow and black, and Scott Norman in white. They are both off the gate. This is heat number 8. Away they drive from the start, and white. Scott Norman goes into that first turn. Second place, Wayne Carter. Third place at this moment in time is Andy Graham. So the two riders who started from the gate at this moment in time doing very, very well. Wayne Carter having trouble with his machine, trying to give it to Andy Graham, now coming through to third place over John Jorgensen. John Jorgensen coming back on him. So 2-7, look at Andy Graham driving underneath John Jorgensen. So 2 separate battles in a moment. Wayne Carter still fighting with his machine, trying to keep it down. But Scott Norman, after that heat number 3 crash, looks likely now to collect 3 points. Andy Graham just holding on to third place from John Jorgensen. We're on the final lap of heat number 8. And it still is Scott Norman who's heads the pack around the final 2 bends. Scott Norman coming up to take the win. Norman gets this. Second place is Wayne Carter, the reserve, and Andy Graham eventually holding on to third place from John Jorgensen. So it was the 2 riders who started from the gate. Scott Norman who gets the 3 points. Wayne Carter, the reserve, coming in to replace Charles Ermolenko. He gets the 2 points, and 1 for Andy Graham. So there we see the scoreboard after all riders have had 2 outings. And 2 riders on 5 points, Ronnie Corrie and Sam Ermolenko, both from America and both from Wolverhampton. And 4 riders on 4 points, Andy Graham, Graham Jones, Greg Hancock and Billy Hamill. Of course, Andy Graham and Graham Jones both from England, and Hancock and Hamill from America. Join us for more speed. We're here from Monmore Green after the break. Welcome back to the Ladbroke Stadium, Monmore Green in Wolverhampton for heat number 9 of the Ladbroke-sponsored 1991 Olympique. All riders now had 2 outings, and the 2 leaders, as I told you already, are Ronnie Corrie and Sam Ermolenko. Heat number 9, and the tape drives on this particular race, and into that first bend they drive. The rider in blue, Stephen Morris, starting from the gate, coming in to replace Charles Ermolenko, but coming through in white is Rocket Ronnie Corrie, riding for Wolverhampton, and one of the current leaders along with Sam Ermolenko. Billy Hamill, fellow countryman, riding for Craigleheath, tucked in behind him, and Neil Collins fighting for third place, and eventually getting through on Stephen Morris. But here we see in white Rocket Ronnie Corrie, who really is having a great season, reached the world final in the Olympique Stadium in Gothenburg back in September. And one of the mainstays why Wolverhampton are having a good season, and just getting hold of that Sunbright League Division 1 Championship. Just a mathematical chance somebody could catch him, but I'm sure everybody would disagree here at Monmore Green, and who can blame them? They waited a long time for success here at Wolverhampton, and this man here is going to have a big say in bringing them a championship, I'm sure, in 1991. He comes up to take the win in heat number 9. Second place is Billy Hamill, third place is Neil Collins. And Ronnie Corrie, who was spotted by Chris Van Straten, one of the most respected promoters here in England, brought over the big pond from the US of A and is doing very, very nicely, now settled in the Midlands. So heat number 10, which sees Scott Norman off of 20 yards in red, Samuel Malenko off 20 yards in blue, Greg Hancock off of 10 yards in white, and Mark Thorpe in yellow-black off of scratch from the gate. This is heat number 10, and into that turn, the bikes roar, and as Horst predicted, it was yellow-black Mark Thorpe the leads, but Greg Hancock coming very, very close in second place in white, who was off 10 yards. So Hancock now trying to come around the outside of Mark Thorpe. Thorpe still leads, Hancock getting closer by the metre. Samuel Malenko in third place. So it's coming through in white, as predicted. Greg Hancock. Now the battle is on for the minor places. Can Samuel Malenko come through to join him? At this moment, Mark Thorpe still holding on. Sudden Sam is trying the outside line on Mark Thorpe. There's Sam in blue. Mark Thorpe just in front of him. Malenko trying to go around the outside. He's now on the final lap of heat number 10. Greg Hancock leads. Can Malenko do it? Malenko making up tremendous ground on Thorpe, and Malenko now is alongside and takes second place. So coming around the final two turns, it is Greg Hancock that wins, but more importantly, it is Samuel Malenko also comes through to get the points from the bag. So heat number 10 is follows. Greg Hancock wins and gets 3 points. Second place, Samuel Malenko, he gets 2. And Mark Thorpe, the early pace leader, he has 1 point. That's the result of heat number 10. So the handicapping proving very eventful as we move swiftly on to heat number 11. And Andy Graham in red, he's off 10 yards. Blue, Tony Rickardson starts from the gate. Craig Boyce is off 15 yards, he's in white. And Jan Steckman off of 10 yards, he's in yellow-black. That's the lineup for heat number 11 of the 1991 Ladbrokes-sponsored Olympique. Pictures coming from the hotshot cameras of Screen Sport. The green light's on. Up through the tape, Slows engine roars, and it's a long way now to the first turn. But it's blue, red, yellow and white in that order down the back straight. Blue, Tony Rickardson leads from Sweden and of course Ipswich and Stockholm, wherever he races. But Rickardson leads in blue. Second place in red is Andy Graham. Third place in yellow-black is Jan Steckman. And Craig Boyce tailed off in fourth place. So Tony Rickardson from scratch was always going to have a very, very important ride here in heat number 11. A man who's going to look back, I'm sure, with great pride and great passion at things that have happened in 1991. Capped, of course, by that memorable World Final, where he was by far the most entertaining rider in the Olympique Stadium on September the 1st. One more lap to go in heat number 11. Rickardson leads. Still second is Andy Graham. Third is Jan Steckman. And round the final two turns of heat number 11, coming out of the gloom, it is Tony Rickardson that wins. Second place in red is Andy Graham. Third place in yellow and black is Jan Steckman. So 3 good points to the rider in blue, Tony Rickardson. 2 to Andy Graham for finishing second, and 1 Jan Steckman, the Division 2 Rider of the Year, gets 1 point. That's the result of heat number 11. Heat number 12, one before the interval stage here at Wolverhampton. Nigel Crabtree off 10 yards in red. John Jorgensen off a scratch, he's in blue. Graham Jones off 15 yards in white, and Henkel Gustafsson also from the gate is in yellow and black. So this is heat number 12, and the weather conditions still very, very wet, very, very gloomy, and the track conditions are proving difficult for the riders, but they're putting on a great show for the Screen Sport cameras as the tapes rise, and Gustafsson and Jorgensen drive into that first turn. Jorgensen just with his nose in front, but Henkel Gustafsson now takes up the initiative round the outside, so Gustafsson takes the lead. John Jorgensen second, Graham Jones in third place. That's the positions after one lap of heat number 12. So it gets a little bit more difficult when you have riders of the calibre of Tony Rickardson and Henrik Gustafsson starting off a scratch, especially with the conditions being a little bit tricky here at Monmore Green. But we've still got some tremendous action, I'm sure, in the final 8 races to decide who's going to pick up this prestigious event, the 1991 Ladbrokes-sponsored Olympique meeting from Monmore Green, with one more lap in heat number 12. And as always, we thank the promoters here at Wolverhampton for allowing us to capture this memorable handicapping system and showing the viewers all over Europe just what it's all about. But it is going to be Henke Gustafsson who comes up to take the win in heat number 12. Henke Gustafsson wins, he takes the 3 points. Second place to John Jorgensen, he gets 2, and Graham Jones gets the 1 point for finishing in third position. So we've reached heat number 12, and the scores on the bulb is full. Ronnie Corry heads the pack from America and Wolverhampton on 8 points. Sam Ermolenko, America and Wolverhampton on 7, along with Greg Hancock from Craigheath and also America, he's also on 7. 3 riders on 6, Andy Graham, Billy Hamill and Tony Rickardson. So very, very close and very, very much to ride for as we go into the final 8 races of the 1991 Ladbrokes Olympique here from Wolverhampton. So Ronnie Corry, of course, goes into this meeting as previous winner. He won it last season on 12 points from Billy Hamill. Those two both finish on 12 points, and John Jorgensen in third place on 10 points. So we move swiftly on then after the interval to heat number 13, which sees Henke Gustafsson off of 20 yards, he's in red. Scott Norman starting from scratch off the gate in blue. Jan Steckman in white off 10 yards, and Ronnie Corry also off of 20 yards along with Gustafsson in yellow and black. That's where they line up for heat number 13. So the track conditions, I'm sure, are going to have a big say in the final 8 races here at Wolverhampton. So far we've seen some tremendous action from the riders with skills such as Ermolenko, such as Greg Hancock, such as Billy Hamill, such as Ronnie Corry and Henke Gustafsson and Tony Rickardson. As the tapes rise on heat number 13 and the interval stage is now over and the second half begins, the riders resume into that first and second turn, and it is Scott Norman that heads the pack. Ronnie Corry in yellow and black coming from the back at this moment in time. But with one lap gone, it is the rider in blue, Scott Norman, that leads from the rider in white, Jan Steckman, and Ronnie Corry third in yellow and black. And it looks as though Ronnie Corry is going to drop points in heat number 13. That's no disrespect, it's going to be very, very difficult to start from 20 yards with the riders of the calibre that are in front of him. So Scott Norman leads, Jan Steckman second, Ronnie Corry third in heat number 13. Scott Norman, who stepped up to Sunbelt League Division 1 with Wolverhampton from Division 2 and is settled in very, very nicely. And, well, he's looked as though he could well pick up a championship winning medal with them. But he, more importantly, wins heat number 13 tonight. Second place, Jan Steckman. Third place is Ronnie Corry. So Scott Norman gets 3 points, Jan Steckman 2, and Ronnie Corry just 1 point. So there he is, Scott Norman, the winner of heat number 13. So Scott Norman coming round to the applause of the crowd and waving to them, and I'm sure very pleased with life here at Monmore Green. So heat number 14, which sees Mark Thorpe ride in red off of 10 yards. Nigel Crabtree off the scratch from the start, he rides in blue. Andy Graham in white and Billy Hamill in yellow and black, both start off of 15 yards. That's the way they line up for heat number 14. Starting marshal calling them in to the start. The green lights go on, the engines rev, the tapes rise, and heat number 14 gets underway, and Nigel Crabtree leads into that turn, but all the riders now getting under contention. Yellow black, Billy Hamill and Andy Graham having a rare old tattle. Andy Graham just holding on, and just look how close they're getting. It is Nigel Crabtree that leads. Andy Graham in second place, Billy Hamill third. Crabtree still leads, but just look at Andy Graham drive underneath him, and Andy Graham, has he got it? No, Crabtree just holds on. Crabtree in blue holds on, Andy Graham in second place. And Andy Graham is now come through to take the lead. Graham from Eastbourne takes the lead, Crabtree in second place, Billy Hamill getting very, very close to Nigel Crabtree. But what a tremendous ride from this Brummie Andy Graham. Of course, his brother rides across the Midlands at Craigheath. Andy Graham, there's Crabtree holds on, getting into very much difficulty, and Billy Hamill gets through now to second place. So an eventful heat number 14 is Andy Graham comes up to take the win. Second place is Billy Hamill. Third place, the early leader is Nigel Crabtree. But Andy Graham, doing the biz from the back, gets 3 points for finishing in pole position. 2 points for Billy Hamill, who also worked his way through the field in second place. And Nigel Crabtree, the early leader, has to be content with 1 point in heat number 14. And there he is, Andy Graham waving to the crowd. Congratulations to you, Andy. A very well-earned 3 points from heat number 14. So heat number 15 sees Wayne Carter come in for reserve ride. He's over 15 yards. He rides in red. Craig Boyce off of the gate. He's in blue. Graham Jones off 10 yards in white. And Sam Ermolenko in yellow-black, also off of 15 yards. This is heat number 15. Green light goes on. Up go the tapes. Heat number 15 gets underway and Boyce goes straight into that turn. Boyce leads. Graham Jones in white in second place. Oh, and Ermolenko is taken out wide and hung literally on the fence there. So Ermolenko is left for dead. So Boyce leads. Graham Jones second. Third place is Wayne Carter. And Sam Ermolenko is left for dead. But can he make up any ground on Wayne Carter? But it's Boyce, of course, from Australia. The current Australian champion, of course, riding very nicely for Oxford and Vestavik. But a season really which has got away from Craig Boyce due to injury. Injured in that Commonwealth final on June the 2nd at King's Lynn, and more recently broke his foot while racing in Sweden. So Boyce leads. Still from Graham Jones is down and the red lights are on, and heat number 15 has been stopped in the interest of safety. Graham Jones, the faller. So we wait to see whether the referee will award the race as it was stopped on the outside on the last lap. And there we see Graham Jones hit the deck. Let's have a few words with Graham Jones and see what happened on that last lap of heat number 15.
Yeah, I just overcooked it going into the corner, and the outside mud was very heavy, and I just got my two wheels the wrong side of the mud, and I went just like a tram straight into the fence. But I was okay, just twisted a little bit, but it was okay.
So nice to see Graham Jones okay, and the result was awarded. With Craig Boyce getting the win, Wayne Carter getting 2 points and Sam Ermolenko 1. So heat number 16 is next on the agenda. Tony Rickardson red, all 15 yards. Neil Collins starts off with the gate, he's in blue. John Jorgensen white, he starts off of 10 yards. And Greg Hancock also off of 15 along with Rickardson, he's in yellow and black. This is heat number 16 of the 1991 Ladbroke sponsored Olympique, coming from Monmore Green in Wolverhampton. Thanks to their promotion for letting us film here. Riders coming in to the start. The green light's on. Up go the tapes. Neil Collins races into that first turn. He's got the pole position. White in second place, John Jorgensen, and cutting underneath him is Greg Hancock. So now Neil Collins leads. Hancock in second place, and just look at Greg Hancock come very, very close. Collins leads. Hancock in second place, and one thing you can be assured is that Greg Hancock just will not give in. Collins looks over his shoulder, sees that it's Hancock literally up his exhaust pipe. Hancock taking the outside line. One of the most chirpy characters in British Speedway, Greg Hancock. Oh, it's got a smile on his face. He comes up now, coming around the outside of Collins and takes the lead. Greg Hancock comes from the back. He now takes the lead. Second place is Neil Collins. Third place is John Jorgensen, and Rickardson is left for dead. So down the back straight for the final time in heat number 16. And coming around the final two bends to win from the back, it's smiling Greg Hancock who gets there. Second place Neil Collins, third place John Jorgensen. So Greg Hancock gets 3 points from heat number 16, 2 to Neil Collins and 1 to John Jorgensen. So let's look then at positions after heat number 16, with all the riders now having 4 outings. Greg Hancock the leader on 10 points from America, and Craig DeHeath second place joint on 9 points. Andy Graham from England and Eastbourne, and Ronnie Corrie from Wolverhampton and America. And both riders on 8 points from America, Sam Ermolenko from Wolverhampton and Billy Hamill from Craigleheath. Join us for the conclusion of the 1991 Ladbroke Olympique from Monmore Green in Wolverhampton after the break. Welcome back to the conclusion of the 1991 Ladbroke Olympique from Monmore Green in Wolverhampton. And a lot of questions going to be answered in heat number 17, which sees the current leader Greg Hancock line up against Ronnie Corrie just 1 point behind. So Ronnie Corrie rides in red, 10 yards behind. Andy Graham rides in blue, 15 yards off the start. Greg Hancock, he's off 20, and Graham Jones from the gate. So a lot of questions to answer as the tapes rise on this particular race. Just to recall, Greg Hancock on 10 points. Ronnie Corrie and Andy Graham both on 9, and all meet in heat number 17, and the tapes rise on this important event. And it is Graham Jones who goes into the turn. Graham Jones leads. Second place is Ronnie Corrie. Third is Greg Hancock. So the pace fast and furious in heat number 17. Graham Jones looks over his shoulder, sees that Ronnie Corrie is the next one behind him. And Greg Hancock making up tremendous ground. Jones goes very wide, manages to hold on. Rocket Ronnie tucked in behind him. Hancock now trying to come round the outside of Ronnie Corrie. And through comes Ronnie Corrie as Graham Jones makes a terrible mistake. So Corrie is through, Hancock second, Andy Graham third. And all of a sudden the current leader is going to be beaten. And it's Ronnie Corrie with one more lap to go in heat number 17, who's got the bit between his teeth. And of course this could possibly mean a run-off for the title. Rocket Ronnie coming round the final two bends on 9 points. He comes up to take the win. Corrie gets there. Second place is the man in white, Greg Hancock. Third is Andy Graham. So Greg Hancock finishes on 12 points along with Ronnie Corrie as well, and Andy Graham finishing on 10. The two riders shake hands down the back straight. And that means, folks, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we can still have one or two surprises here at Monmore Green before the outcome of the 1991 Ladbroke sponsored Olympic takes place. Let's just take a slow-mo look again at this particular race as Ronnie Corrie drifts underneath Greg Hancock. Ronnie Corrie, the smooth action rider from, of course, the Big Con in California. Tremendous start from Ronnie Corrie, the winner of heat number 17. So we move on to heat number 18. We've seen Tony Rickardson, Mark Thorpe, Henkel Gustafsson and Stephen Morris, who comes in for Charles Ermolenko ride, all starting off a scratch. No handicapping heat number 18. A battle between Sweden in this one, I dare say, is Gustafsson and Rickardson will dice for positions, and it's Henkel Gustafsson who leads at the moment. So Gustafsson, Mark Thorpe in second place, splitting. And third comes the rider in blue. Thorpe just holding on to Rickardson, but Rickardson coming through now to second place. So Gustafsson leads, but Rickardson comes through to second place. Mark Thorpe having a battle with him for a lap before giving way, which is no disrespect to him. So Henkel Gustafsson leads, who has just, of course, led Kumla to their second Swedish Elite League title. Congratulations to him on that one, and having a very, very good season with Kings Lynn in England, keeping them firmly off of the foot of the Division 1 campaign, which they've been on several campaigns. So Gustafsson leads down the back straight for the final time. Rickardson second and Mark Thorpe third. Coming up to take the win is Gustafsson that gets there. Second place is Tony Rickardson, and in third place is Mark Thorpe. That's the way they finish in heat number 18. Gustafsson looks over his shoulder, congratulates the man in second place, Tony Rickardson. So a Swedish 5-1 in heat number 18. 3 points to Gustafsson, 2 for Rickardson and 1 to Mark Thorpe. That's heat number 18. Gustafsson finishes on 7 points. Congratulations to him on that. And Gustafsson finishes on, Rickardson finishes on 8. So we move on to heat number 19. Craig Boyce starts over 15 yards. He rides in red. Scott Norman also starts over 15. He's in blue. Nigel Crabtree starts off a scratch. He starts from the tapes. He's in white. Neil Collins off of 10 yards is in yellow-black. This is heat number 19. Green light goes on. Away they drive from the start. And the early leader in white is Nigel Crabtree. So Crabtree leads. Second place in yellow and black is Neil Collins, and blue Scott Norman is there as well. So the pass face the front. Just look, the rider in white still leads, which is Nigel Crabtree. Crabtree still leading. which is going to be a good one for him if he can hold on. Red, Craig Boyce is second. There is Craig Boyce in second place. The man from Down Under doing very, very well when injury doesn't prevent him from doing so. White, Nigel Crabtree still leads. Of course, Crabtree riding for Stoke in Division 2 are trying desperately to avoid the wooden spoon in Division 2, just Milton Keynes below them. The last lap of heat number 19. Down the back straight for the final time. Still it is Crabtree lead. Boyce second, Neil Collins third. As Boyce tries to come around the outside of Crabtree. Crabtree dressed out wide to block the move and gets the win. So the result of heat number 19 is a win in white for Nigel Crabtree. He gets the 3 points. Second place in red is Craig Boyce, and third place in yellow and black is Neil Collins. So Boyce finishes on 7 points. Scott Norman finishes on 6 points, and Nigel Crabtree finishes on 6 points. Congratulations to those two for heat number 19. So heat number 20 now comes in to the reckoning, and we have a look at the lineup for this particular race, and we see that Sam Ermolenko is in this one in red, Jan Steckman will be in blue, and Wayne Carter coming in as the rain still comes down at Monmore Green, but it hasn't dampened the enthusiasm of the Monmore Green faithfuls. They've got a lot to celebrate in 1991, with hopefully will be crowned by a Sunbright League Division 1 Championship very, very soon. And in this one, Sam Ermolenko currently on 8 points is in this one, and if Sam can get the win, he will be on 11 points and will grab third place in this 1991 Ladbroke Olympique. Sam has won this one before. He won it in 1987 from Hans Nielsen and Janno Petersen. Let's take a look then as the tape tries on the final race, sparring, of course, to run off for the title, and it's Ermolenko who is straight into pole position. So Ermolenko takes the lead from scratch position off the gate, which is no surprise, I'm sure. So Ermolenko leads. Second place in yellow and black is John Jorgensen. Third place in white is Wayne Carter, replacing Billy Hamill. And blue, Jan Steckman back in fourth place. So we're building up to a fitting climax here at Monmore Green. Is Sam Ermolenko starting playing to the gallery here in front of his own fans, looking set for the 3 points which will give him bronze medal here at the Olympique of 1991. A man who has overcome the pain barrier on so many occasions, that dreadful accident a few years ago which threatened to rob him of his racing career, where he very nearly broke every bone in his body on Germany in the long track racing scene. He comes round the final two bends to come up and take the win, and assures him of the bronze position here at Wolverhampton. So Ermolenko gets the 3 points as he wins. 2 points to John Jorgensen, and John Jorgensen has done a satisfactory night. He ends up on 6 points and 1 point for Wayne Carter in third place. But all eyes are on the man there in red, Sam Ermolenko, who gets third place here in the 1991 Ladbroke Olympique. Shakes hands with Mr. Fox, the entertainment value at Monmore Green, and we now wait for the fitting climax to what has been a fabulous meeting here at Monmore Green. And it is two riders only who will fight for the title of Olympic champion of 1991. There in white will be Greg Hancock from America and Craiglie Heath. In red will be Rocket Ronnie Corrie, of course, from Wolverhampton and also America. So it looks like America, all three positions in this particular event. So, as predicted, and as you already know, no handicapping for this one. 4 laps to decide who will become the 1991 Ladbroke Olympic champion. Ronnie Corrie on the inside in red, Greg Hancock on the outside in white. 4 laps to decide. 500cc machine as always. Clutch start. The crowd beginning to go very, very crazy here. The tapes rise, and into that first turn, they full throttle drive. And it is Corrie the lead, and just look, and Hancock cut up the inside of him. So Hancock now takes the lead. Greg Hancock leads. Ronnie Corrie second, and Corrie comes back round the outside. Corrie now takes the lead again. Ronnie Corrie, who knows every inch of this Monmore Green circuit, takes the lead. Rocket Ronnie, as he's known here, takes the lead, and just listen to the crowd. Corrie leads. Greg Hancock in second place. So we're in for a fitting climax. The Monmore crowd going delightfully happy. And I'm sure they'll give this bloke a great cheer. Curry goes dreadfully wide, makes an almighty mistake, and all of a sudden, as we go into the last lap, Greg Hancock has seized the opportunity. Curry trying to come back on him. Hancock on the inside, Curry on the outside, and we're going right to the line to decide, and down goes Curry! And Greg Hancock wins the 1991 Ladbroke Olympique. Ronnie Curry picks himself up and gets back on his machine and goes over the line to get second place. The drama that continues at Monmore Green, and what a fitting to a great meeting. Greg Hancock waves to the crowd, and I'm sure will be the first to acknowledge that was one hell of a speedway race, and right to the very, very end he had to fight all of the way. But Greg Hancock shakes hands with Rocket Ronnie Curry, the man who we thought had the title in his bag before he made an almighty mistake on the third and fourth turn of the third lap. So the 1, 2, 3 are all from America. Let's take another look at the breathtaking action from heat number 21, the runoff for the title. And at this stage, Rocket Ronnie had come from the back. Curry with the initiative, Hancock on the inside. And we thought at this moment that Rocket Ronnie surely was set to take the title of 1991. Curry now leads, but goes out in the dirt, and all of a sudden makes an almighty mistake.
Ronnie, I mean, you were last year's winner. You were so determined. I've never seen anybody ride with such determination, but perhaps a little bit too much there.
Yeah, I was trying a bit hard. I just kept coming in the turns a bit, slide like Greg was saying. It was real slimy coming in, then when you hit the dirt, it really gives you a hard ride, like, and I was trying hard, you know. I mean, it's a bummer. Last year I had Billy with me in the runoff. This year I got Greg, you know, so it's fun, you know. We had a good race, you know, and I messed up a little bit in one turn, and like I say, he got in there and he got the best of it, I think.
I think you guys are proving a point. In America, this is second nature. I mean, you have handicap racing a lot, don't you?
Yeah, it is. It's that's how we were brought up. Everybody rides on the handicap portion according to your ability. The amateurs start in the front, and as you get better, you move to the back up to a 60-yard line. So on a small track, you're right in the middle of the corner.
Of course, in California, you have sunshine, unlike conditions we had tonight.
Yeah, that's true. That's the only thing that's a bit different about it. It's a bit drier, you know, and a bit sunny, a bit more warmer, but didn't turn out too bad tonight, you know. Even though we had that much rain we had, the track was all right, actually. It stayed pretty good, you know, and the line just got higher and higher as the night went, you know. The wider you went, the more gates you had to make, you know. So it was a bit harder coming from the back, like they're saying. You know, you got to ride really hard and really, you know, push it around the outside, and that made it more interesting for the crowd, I think.
So congratulations to Greg Hancock, who becomes the third American to lift his coveted title. Greg Hancock wins on 12 points from Ronnie Curry, also on 12 after that dramatic runoff, and Simon Malenko getting the bronze medal on 11 points. Andy Graham riding exceptionally well, getting 10, and Billy Hamill and Tony Rickardson both on 8 points. But the night belongs to America as they fill the top 3 positions. And there he is, Greg Hancock, with that usual smile on his face, in pole position. Congratulations to him. Hank Gustafson on 8, Craig Boyce and Neil Collins 7, Scott Norman, Nigel Crabtree and John Jorgensen all on 6 points. So the cheers for the crowd are for these 3 Americans who really have shown tremendous courage in conditions which were best suited to motocross, I'm sure you'll agree. But they've put on a tremendous occasion for us this evening. As always, thank you to the Wolverhampton management for letting us film this 1991 Ladbroke Olympique from Monmore Green. As we see the rest of the scores, Jan Steckman 6, Wayne Carter the reserve on 5, Graham Jones, Win Fowler on 5, Mark Thorpe 4, Stephen Morris the reserve, failing to score, and Charles Ermolenko, damage in his neck, failing to score as well. So as the rain still comes down, not relenting 1 minute, I say on behalf of Tommy Randers and Transmission and TV Media, this is Clive Fisher as always for Screen Sport, saying thank you for your company. And from a very damp and wet Monmore Green, join us from Bellevue shortly for the final meeting of the Speedway scene, the British League Riders' Championship.